Could 7 simple words change your life? Could 7 simple words change your life? What if I could distill decades of personal development down to one sentence? Just one sentence, actually one sentence of just 7 words, and each word is a simple one-syllable word. How could that change your life? Could that actually increase your wealth? Could that actually use it to increase your health? Could you use it to develop deeper relationships with those around you? Could you use it to achieve all of your personal goals? Could it be a defining moment in your life? I think it can be. And I've studied for the last, probably 30 plus years, for decades now, I've studied personal development. What makes people successful? What makes the difference for people that achieve, for people that are happy, for people that reach a level of fulfillment in their life, right? So I've studied all that stuff so you don't have to. I've studied Napoleon Hill, right? Think and Grow Rich. Read it many, many times, listened to it on audio many times. Changed my life. I'll talk more about that later in the presentation. Earl Nightingale, studied most of his work. He's got an album cover you'll see there was one of the most successful audio albums of all times, The Strangest Secret. Earl's got a little gift for you later, too. Jim Rohn, studied all of his work, the seminars, retreat weekends, studied Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, Tony Robbins, Personal Power, even his newer program, Get the Edge. I've been a student of the Bible, Dale Carnegie, Brian Tracy, Stephen Covey, the Dalai Lama, and Gandhi. So I've studied it all so that you don't have to, and it's good to grow. It's good to find out, to be a sponge, to be a student, right? I've interviewed a lot of successful people. What makes the difference, right? What makes the difference, what makes the difference in the success, right? Some say it's attitude. Some say it's mindset. Others say it's goal setting. Some say it's luck, being in the right place at the right time. I say that's not by accident. Some say it's the books you read, the people you hang around with. Some say it's taking action. Some say it's sweat equity. And, all of those are true to some degree, But the bottom line is that it all comes down to 7 simple words. 7 simple words. Are you ready? Decades of study distilled down for you to 7 simple one-syllable words in a very simple sentence is actually responsible for all of my success. Personally, I'm in good health, work from home, control my schedule. Emotionally, good marriage, happy family, good connections with friends. Spiritually, I feel connected to God and to the universe. Financially, I've always done well financially because of these 7 words. Initially, I had corporate jobs out of college. I started a consulting company that tripled my income. I became a franchisee with Domino's Pizza. We tripled the sales of the store. I went on to discover network marketing and went to the top of a couple of companies. And in the end, I found cooperative marketing with Trivita. And now, right now, I am at the top of that compensation plan. I'm in the $1 Million Club, right? And how did that all happen? Well, for me, it happened through these 7 words, right? Are you ready? I've got an acronym for those 7 simple words, and that acronym is WYTAYBA. What you think about, you bring about. WYTAYBA. Say it out loud. WYTAYBA. Kind of sounds like a circus tiger's name, but those 7 simple words, that encapsulates the success of my life, is in WYTAYBA. What you think about, you bring about. What you think about, you bring about. So say it again. What you think about, you bring about. That's the essence of the most popular self-development book of our times, written in the 20s, published in the 30s, the 1930s, and this book has created more millionaires than any other book, right? Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Okay, it's a book about WYTAYBA, you guessed it. Earl Nightingale, the most successful audio album of all times, We Become What We Think About. That's his strangest secret. Earl Nightingale, the strangest secret. We become what we think about. That's WYTAYBA. Brian Tracy wrote a whole book, Focal Point, Thoughts become things, right? Thoughts become things. Hamlet said it 400 years ago. Thinking makes it so. Thinking makes it so. 400 years ago. Thousands of years ago, the Bible, Proverbs 23:7. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? This is how you produce results in life and in business. What you think about, you bring about. So your thoughts create your life, your consistent thoughts. And the key is, what are you telling yourself all day long? What are you telling yourself all day long? Michael Ellison, our CEO of TriVita, he teaches it. He calls it the law of expression. We'll go deeper in that. It's in his book, 10 Keys to Create Wealth. Is one side of the book. The other side is the 10 Keys to Create Wellness. But we'll go over that because he talks about it. Thinking about wellness brings about wellness. Thinking about building your business consistently will bring about the building of your business. Thinking about how to better show love will bring about a more loving life. Thinking about health, thinking, why am I such a healthy person? See, that question, it's called an empowering forward action question. Why am I such a healthy person? Brings it about. The thought of it brings it about because the thoughts start to bring about action. Your brain, we'll talk about how your mind works today, but your brain starts the process of answering that question. Why am I such a healthy person? Because I eat healthy, because I exercise, because I do deep breathing, because I drink a lot of water, because I do Qigong, and so on and so on. Your thinking ends up leading to the bringing, the creation of it. And it all starts in the mind, and it starts with the thought. So WYTAYBA, what you think about, you bring about. Actually, it's, decades of personal development distilled down to that one phrase. And our name, we're going to talk about our team name, Team WYTAYBA, right? Because this is that important, that unique, that I want to be reminded every time I send an email, every time I engage with anyone about my TriVita business, I want to think about WYTAYBA, and I want that to be front and center, right? So let me talk a little bit about the history of WYTAYBA and give you a little deeper understanding of it. So I first found out, luckily, this is extremely lucky for me, is that I first found out about this concept, what you think about, you bring about, in college. In 1982, I responded to an ad that was in a magazine about a free audio tape from Success Motivation International. And that tape was copyrighted in 1960. Actually, that was the year that Success Motivation International started. I still have that audio tape. It changed my life. It was an introduction tape about the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it was actually, the audio was done by Earl Nightingale, so I got an early dose of him as well. And Success Motivation International, they're still in business today, 53 years later, because they use WYTAYBA. And the founder, Paul Meyer, very well-known success philosopher, I guess, a quote from him: "What you vividly imagine, ardently desire, and sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon, must inevitably come to pass." So that's Paul Meyer. That's WYTAYBA. He's there. He's telling us, right there. And you'll see on the screen right now, that's my book, my actual book. I still have it from 1982. So I listened to the tape. I bought the book, and I read Think and Grow Rich in college. That started me on a success journey that now I've enjoyed for decades, coming up on 3 decades. And so personal success, like I said before, good health, work from home, and control of the schedule, emotional success, spiritual success, financial success, it's all there. And this all came about from my use of WYTAYBA. What you think about, you bring about. I realized right there in college, I realized that my thoughts created my reality. Now, I know that life can throw some unique circumstances at us from time to time, and it does. But it was my choice in how I responded to those things that made all the difference. And it does that for you. The choice of the thoughts is always ours, right? And this is not new. It's been around for thousands of years. But it was new to me. It was new to me. And hopefully, you will begin to see its power today and put this powerful concept to use in your life. So let's talk a little bit about some examples, right? We talk about the book, Think and Grow Rich. There's a picture of Napoleon Hill. This is WYTAYBA. What you think about, you bring about. And, one of the action steps today is to read that book if you haven't. But if you have, reread it. but read it and realize this is a training manual. This is a course. This is a how-to book in WYTAYBA. What you think about, you bring about. Now, he wants you to bring to the book a desire, and then he's going to show you how to take those desires, those thoughts, and turn them into a tangible, physical reality. Extremely, extremely powerful. We become what we think about. Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. And we're going to share this work with you as a bonus today at the end. But this was an extremely successful, I think it was the most successful audio album of all times. And he talks about this concept, we become what we think about. He talks about quotes. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor, said, "A man's life is what his thoughts make of it." Right? Brian Tracy, another great success coach of our times. You become what you think about most of the time. Right? Brian Tracy. Norman Vincent Peale, love his work. Change your thoughts and you change your world. Change your thoughts and you change your world. This is, it's an interesting application of changing your thoughts can change your world, right? What you think about, you bring about. Jim Rohn is another one. Your thoughts, your personal philosophy makes all the difference, right? Jim Rohn shares a great story with us about being in a little sailboat. And he says, the blowing of the wind, it's not the blowing of the wind that determines where you end up in life, but the set of the sail. You see, we're all in that little sailboat. And what he's saying there is that the wind is the circumstances of life, good and bad. But our thoughts are the setting of the sail. We control that. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what life throws at you. It doesn't matter what the wind throws at you. What matters is your thoughts and your thoughts that lead to those actions. What you think about, you bring about. Right? Tony Robbins, Personal Power, Get the Edge programs. They're all about your thoughts fueling your emotions and your passions, resulting in successful action steps. Dale Carnegie, Influence People, Your Thoughts Are Key. Stephen Covey, right? Stephen Covey, I love his stuff, right? The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Your Personal Paradigm. Well, guess what he starts with? Number 1 is begin with the end in mind, right? Begin with the end in mind. What do you want? Focus on what you want, right? And begin with that in mind, in your mind, right? So again, it's the thoughts that are the key to the change. The Dalai Lama, how thinking can change the brain, right? Change your thinking, change your life. He's got a book out. It's called Train the Mind, Change Your Brain, the power to change yourself physically from your thoughts. About a month ago, he was actually at a world event. It was called Change Your Mind, Change the World event. Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, they teach about your thoughts, the power of your thoughts, and it's in the mind. It all starts in the mind. Dr. Wayne Dyer, I saw him live present. He had a new book that came out. His book was called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Change your thoughts, change your life. One of the great guys I love to read, Ralph Waldo Emerson, right? Ralph Waldo Emerson. A man is what he thinks about all day long. What you think about, you bring out. Again, the Bible we talked about. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. And one of my favorite quotes, my favorite beings is Mahatma Gandhi. A man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. Right? A man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. This is how you produce results. What you think about, you bring about. Your thoughts create your life. Your consistent thoughts, what do you tell yourself, right? What are you saying to yourself all day long? Who do you listen to? What are the things that you're putting in your head every single day? Michael Ellison, he has a whole chapter about this. He's the founder of Trivita. He teaches it as the law of expression. That's wealth key number 3 in his book. And that law states that all things in the visible world come from an expression in the invisible world. All things start with a thought, right? And his thing is think it, speak it, act on it. So there it is again, WYTAYBA. What you think about, you bring about, right? Think it, speak it, act on it. Stay in alignment, right? You want to stay aligned in thought, in word, and in deed. But it starts with the thought. And you can be wealthy if you consistently believe it, consistently speak it, and consistently act on it. Realize that actions and the spoken word reveals the thoughts that are behind them. I'd highly recommend, and you'll see we have a little list of things to get started with WYTAYBA, and one of those is to read and reread. It's a short chapter in that book on the law of expression, right? It's also, some people call it the law of attraction. Maybe you saw that movie called The Secret. Now, WYTAYBA is the law of attraction with action, so it's not just thinking about it, but it's you bringing it about as well. Thinking about wellness brings about wellness. Thinking about wealth brings wealth. Your thoughts actually end up determining your outlook, your mood, your emotions, and those thoughts create your experience. If you're thinking about gloom, you will find gloom. If you're thinking about opportunity, you will find opportunity. You know, it's what you think about, you bring about, and what you're thinking and what you say to yourself, those things start to happen, right? So if you're thinking to yourself, I'm a healthy person, I'm a healthy person, that brings about healthful actions. Well, what does a healthy person eat for lunch, right? You know, what you think of yourself ends up determining where you end up in life. You have these other sayings, you know, a vision becomes reality. Dominant thought equals dominant behavior. Your thoughts determine your experiences, right? Your thoughts determine your experiences. All right, well, let's talk about a couple of real-world examples of WYTAYBA. So on the screen right now, I have a picture. I wonder how many of you know what that is on the screen right now. Have you ever seen that before? That is the TRS-80 personal computer. That is the TRS-80 personal computer. I think it had 5K worth of memory when it first came out. You would store programs on audio tapes, but that little computer, that was my first go through with WYTAYBA. Now, I didn't call it WYTAYBA at the time, but if you think back when you were a kid, I was a junior in high school, but when you think back when you were a kid, you know, kids get stuck on one thought. They want something. They get determined. It is all-consuming focus, right? And I remember as a child, one of the first things I wanted was a Radio Shack personal computer. And I saved my money, and I did chores, and I went and painted, and I babysat, and I, you know, presented to my parents why I should have this computer, and it became a total focus. And in the end, the computer was $500, $499. I raised half, and I got my parents to pay the other half. I think they paid me off because I was just incessantly coming after them with it. And now the funny thing is I ended up going into computer science and getting a degree in computer science. But, you know, when I got behind that, when all my thoughts, when it became, Napoleon Hill, he talked about it becoming an obsession in a good way. Okay, what you think about, you bring about. I was bringing about the reality of that computer. And so think about your own life when you were a kid. Can you think back and remember, what was that one thing you wanted? I remember Mitch Lover told me about this bicycle he wanted. It was the same thing, you know, and he talked to his parents. He raised some money, and he talked his parents into getting the rest of the money for that. The other thing for me was a moped. You know, the driving age was a little older in New Jersey where I was born and raised, and I wanted the flexibility of going to high school on a moped. So I did the same thing. I thought about it incessantly. I got pictures and brochures and the costs, and you know, again, started raising money with charts. And again, I raised about half, and my parents also, you know, kicked in the half. But it started with a thought, and that thought intensified with desire, in which I thought about it more and more and more and more and more, and I took more and more and more and more action to bring it about. So you can overcome any challenge, you know, that stands in the way of a deeply rooted thought, desire, and actually Napoleon Hill in his book, he'll show you how to increase that sense of desire. But realize that you can overcome any challenge if your thoughts, you know, are strong enough, because they'll lead to the actions that you need. And Jim Rohn taught me something. You know, he said embrace the challenge. Now, if you got a thought and it's a big thought, maybe it's too big, you can break it down. But embrace the challenge. He would say, give me more problems. Why? Because he taught me not to, he says, don't wish for less problems. You can't grow without a challenge. Wish for more wisdom or skills to handle the challenges. And that was a big mind shift for me. But it all started with WYTAYBA, and you can think about all the way back to when you were a kid, and you know, almost everyone I talk to can have some example of that. So I have to say, now this could be bad or could be good. In my case, it's good, but for many people, the truth can hurt. That's why so many ignore it, right? This is a key little thing here, is that WYTAYBA has been at work in your life, your whole life. And where you are today is because of your WYTAYBA. Now that may sting a little bit, right? To hear that you are where you are because of the sum of all your thoughts up till this time. It's how you think about things that makes the difference, right? So it's the way you talk to yourself, how you see problems, how you see your life, what are your dominant thoughts. Now, I'm not here to cast blame on that. Rather, I want to open you to take responsibility for your life. That's where the real power is. Inner change leads to stabilizing all areas of your life, right? Opening you up to your full potential. It's not what happens to you that has determined where you are right now in your life, okay? What happens to everyone one way or another. It's your response to what happens, right? So it's your thoughts about it, how you think about it, right? How you think about it is what you bring about. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so you may need, if you're not where you want to be in life, you've got to look at that, because you probably just need to change your thoughts. And that will change what's happening in your life. Again, you can't control circumstances. We know that. I know that. But it's your reaction to those circumstances. It's the set of the sail that determines where you end up. And if you're in a good place, keep doing it. Keep doing what you've been doing. You've got great thoughts. But if not, change your thoughts. I guarantee it will change your whole world. It's not just me saying that. Be a student of it. Go back. Look. You'll see it for thousands of years, right? And let's talk a little bit about how the mind works. What you focus on expands. Now, science, the cool thing about science right now is this whole area of psychology and neuroscience is exploding. And science is showing us that the brain is very powerful, and we do control our conscious mind, and we influence the subconscious mind. So when you give something meaning, your brain begins to collect information to support that thing in your brain, and it discards information that does not support that. That's why it becomes, what you say to yourself becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Think about that for a minute, okay? Think about that. When you give meaning to something in your brain is taking all this information, thousands of things, little pieces of information from all 5 of your senses, sight, hear, touch, taste, smell. You're receiving all this information, but what it chooses to focus on is to support your belief system, right? So for example, if you look on the screen right now, I've got an example there, and that's a squirrel. That's a squirrel, okay? Now, if you think all squirrels are scary, that's a pretty scary looking one there on the screen. If you think all squirrels are scary, then you're going to, when you see a squirrel, okay, you know, you're going to remember all the scary things about them. They have teeth. They could have rabies. They have sharp claws. You will physically get scared around that squirrel. Your body will physically change. You'll feel uneasy. You'll feel panic. You'll start to sweat. You'll run away. You'll scream, okay, because of what you thought before you saw the squirrel. You think all squirrels are scary. That will produce physical results in your body and in your life. Now, here's the second squirrel. Now, if you think, and I actually, this is what I think, that squirrels are cute and gentle, it's totally different, right? I can even feel my body chemistry and physiology change right now as I'm talking to you. If you think they're cute and gentle, it's totally different, right? I remember back when I was a kid, we had squirrels all over our backyard. We would feed them. They would stand up and look real cute, soft tails. I could feed them out of my hand. I love squirrels. It reminds me of kind of my carefree summer days out of school, you know, playing in my backyard, right? And so what happens for me when I see that squirrel? When I see a squirrel, because I don't see too many of them here in the desert, but when I see them, I feel calm. cuddly. I feel love. I feel warmth. I feel a connection to my childhood. It makes me smile, right? It makes me smile. It's the same experience. Seeing a squirrel, it's the same experience, but two opposite reactions. Based on what? Based on thoughts. See, it's not the fact that a squirrel runs across your path. It's the meaning that you put to the squirrel. And based on previous experiences which build upon each other, that creates who you are, how you think, and how you respond, right? Again, thoughts, the thoughts about it is what makes all the difference. What you think about, you bring about. That holds true day to day, okay? And it's not, it's also, now I just gave you an example of the squirrel. That's the old thought. That's what's in your brain, what's in your brain from the past. But it holds true for the day today, this day that you're about to approach. It holds true for what's happening in the future and how you decide to start your day. So if you're looking at the screen now, you're going to see Zoe there. She is almost hit by a car, right? And so here's an example. Okay, for example, if you start the day and you say, I got a feeling it's going to be a bad day. It's going to be a bad day. You almost get hit by a car. You were right. You're going to say, see, I almost died. Today is the worst day of my life. But if you start by saying, I'm going to have a good day today, feels like a good day, you're almost hit by the car. Same event, but you see it that your life was spared. This is the best day of my life. I could have been killed by the car, but I wasn't. Same fact, almost hit by the car, same fact. The meanings are different. The meaning that we give everything shapes our lives. Your thoughts control what you let into your brain. And you are constantly looking to reinforce the thoughts that you have. You're looking to prove those thoughts true, and you will. You will. Even if you have to make stuff up, you will. Okay, and every day there's hundreds or thousands of facts and things coming into you. You're coming in contact. But it's the meaning that you give to those thoughts that makes all the difference. And what you think about, you start to bring about. What you think matters big time. It matters today. It mattered yesterday. All of your yesterday thoughts got you to where you are today. Now, that could be good or that could be bad based on where you are, right? The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot, right? The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot, right? You're in control, okay? So Albert Einstein is asking you the question. If you have if you're on the webinar, you can see Albert at the chalkboard. Albert Einstein wants to know, what are you thinking? See, that's what I learned back in college. That makes all the difference, right? You need to begin to increase your awareness, okay, about what your dominant thoughts are each day. And you've got to look for ways to influence them in the direction that you want to go. You need to think positive. You need to think positive. Your life is like a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds, right? If your life isn't awesome, you've been watering the weeds, right? There's a little picture there to go with that on the screen. Your life is your garden. Your thoughts are your seeds. If your life isn't awesome, you've been watering the weeds. And so what you water is going to grow. Earl Nightingale talks about the garden of the mind as well in his little thing that we're going to give you as a gift here in a minute. Okay? So the Dalai Lama, he says it one of the best, what you think, or when you think everything is someone else's fault, you will suffer a lot. When you realize that everything springs only from yourself, you will learn both peace and joy. It really does start in your mind, all of it. It's in your thoughts. Control your thoughts, you control your life. Vision becomes reality. Thoughts become things. Realize this and begin to use its power, right? Look, you're doing it all day long, whether you want to admit it or not. Your thinking is turning those thoughts into things, right? For example, you have a thought. Maybe I'll put this thought into your mind right now. But you have a thought that you're thirsty. I'm thirsty. You have a thought that you would like a drink. then you go and get a glass of water. I'm taking a drink right now. Ah, that tasted good. So you have this thought that you're thirsty, and you go get a drink of water. You turn that thought into reality, right? You did it. That's the smaller thing. I saw a trailer for a movie, and I had a thought, I'd like to see that movie. I asked a few people to go, happened to be my family. We go, we buy the tickets online. Last night we saw the movie, right? That's a little bit bigger than the glass of water. What you think about, you bring about. Start small and then move to bigger things, right? Maybe you move into, I'd like a new business partner for my Travita business. Someone to work the business with. Start thinking about it. What you think about, you bring about, right? Let me start thinking about it. Who'd be good? Okay, that's a great question. Who'd be good? Okay, that's the thought. What's the action? Make a list. Now I start making a list. Then I ask myself an empowering forward action question. Why do I find it so easy? Why do I find it so easy to find a new business partner? Now I ask myself that question as if it already was done. You know, why do I find it so easy? Because then my mind, we know the way the mind works, it don't have to answer the question. It says, well, because, Blaine, because you have great relationships, because you have a big list in LinkedIn, because you have a lot of connections on Facebook that you can message people. Okay, because, Blaine, you went out and you bought some leads, because you got trained, Blaine, because you attended the Team WYTAYBA training, right? So start small and go big. The mind is the key. The mind is the key to all personal and business success. Let me share a little quote from Earl Nightingale. And he says the problem, and here's part of why we're not using our mind enough. The problem is that our mind comes as standard equipment at birth. It's free. All things that are given to us for nothing, we place little value on. Things we pay money for, we value. But the paradox is that exactly the reverse is true. The reverse is true. Everything that's really worthwhile in life came to us free. Our minds, our souls, our bodies, our hopes, our dreams, our ambitions, our intelligence, our love of family and children and friends and country. All these are priceless possessions, and they're free. They're free. But the things that cost us money are actually very cheap and can be replaced anytime. A good person can be completely wiped out and make another fortune. He or she can do the same several times. Even if our home burns down, we can rebuild it. But the things we got for nothing, we can never replace. Our mind can do any job we assign it. Our mind can do any job we assign it. But generally speaking, we use it for little jobs instead of big ones. So decide now. Decide now what it is you want. Plant your goal in your mind. It's the most important decision you'll ever make in your entire life. Every one of us, here's Earl summing it up, every one of us is the sum total of our own thoughts. Where we are, because that's exactly where we want or feel we deserve to be, whether we'll admit that or not. Each of us must live off the fruit of our thoughts in the future, because what you think today and tomorrow and next month and next year will mold your life and determine your future. You're guided by your mind. Now, that's WYTAYBA. And if you really get this, WYTAYBA can change your life. What you think about, you bring about. We have a little bonus from Earl coming up in a minute. Now, this has been my most important discovery in my lifetime, the most important discovery in my whole life. So I was lucky to discover it as a young age. I feel blessed because of that. Okay, and I chose the name for our team, Team WYTAYBA. I chose that name, okay, to remind me every day that my thoughts manifest into my life. What we think about, we bring about. We control our thoughts. So that's our team name. And I hope every time you see it, every time you get an email, you'll remember that what you think about, you bring about. That you'll take that opportunity to improve the quality of your thoughts, which can change your life directly and then indirectly change the lives of everybody around you, and then collectively change the universe. Think about your control, your creation, your life, your purpose, your future. your self-created destiny, right? And then our little green friend, he's always at the end. I pulled him down here on the screen. Our little green friend, he's thinking about wealth. He's got the little light bulb there, the dollar sign. But the gears, now I'm going to fully talk to you about the logo here. The gears in his or her hands, it's not a he or a she, it's an it. They are moving. Okay, the gears are moving. They're in motion. Okay, it is bringing it to motion. Okay, there's an action component, bringing motion to those thoughts. It's inspired action that makes all the difference. Inspired action that makes all the difference. Okay, I call it self-fluence, the power you have to influence yourself, right? Take control of the thoughts, the power you have to influence yourself. You can't control what happens. You cannot control what happens, the circumstances, but you can control your reaction to what happens. And we'll have more training about self-fluence stuff. But for now, let me close with a couple of ways that you can get started with WYTAYBA and also with the bonus. The first thing you can do is to crystallize your thinking. Make a decision on something that you want. Again, start small and then get bigger. Start with some small things, like going to the gym. Start with the small weights, but make a decision on something you want and create your own dominant thought around it, right? Focus on it. That builds desire. Think and Grow Rich says, you know, write it out, read it in the morning, read it at night, carry it with you, make a little picture, put it on your cell phone, make it your screensaver, but crystallize your thinking, okay, and decide clearly on what you want and put it in a positive way. Now, be honest with yourself, because sometimes it can take some time, okay? This takes a little time. If you're going to reprogram your thoughts, that's going to take some time. You might have a very deep groove of thoughts that don't serve you well, okay? Thoughts of, I have thoughts of perfection and things that you know, aren't really attainable, okay? You may be you may have a kind of a poor health thoughts, you know, but it could take some time. But that's okay, okay? Set your focus correctly on what you want. Avoid what you don't want. So a quick example, don't say, I have to stop eating junk food, because then your mind, the way the mind works, junk food, junk food, junk food, you just put junk food on the main track. And what you think about junk food, you'll bring about junk food, right? You stay focused on the junk food. You've got to say it the other way. I'm going to eat something healthy today. I always eat healthy. I like healthy food. I think I love healthy food. I'm going to eat some apples, some grapes. You know, put it in the positive and set the focus correctly. Also realize you can learn anything. Don't be scared of life anymore. You know, in these last few years, oh boy, Napoleon Hill, he would be so excited about Google. You can Google anything. You can learn anything. Don't stop learning. Don't stop growing. Realize whatever stumbling block you have, it is sitting right there in Google. Go Google it. Never before in history, in the history of the earth, has there been this much immediate access to great information. Another way to get started, one of my favorite, this is probably my favorite tip for you today, and that is morning momentum. You want to put WYTAYBA into action, you start with morning momentum. Gratitude, great catalyst. You know, I have my list of 3 in the morning. I like to write down 3 things I'm thankful for, create a little log there. You know, but gratitude. I wake up in gratitude. It's the first thing I do. I actually do it before I even get out of bed. The key, you know, to kind of creating a receptive and positively expanding mind is to start in a state of gratitude, thankful for what you've got, no matter what that is. Then other things. If you can do them first thing, get some momentum to your morning. How you start your day is usually how the day is going to end up, right? So if you can do some exercise is a great one. Reading, right? Reading some inspiring books. Maybe, you know, reading some biographies of people you admire. You know, Jim Rohn is a good example. You know, reading inspiring literature, listening to inspiring audio tapes or music, books on tape. Clean out the junk drawer. That's one of my favorite things to have a good day, is just to get a little action item off the list, something that's bugging you. You know, arrange the closet, the clothes in the closet. Clean out that junk drawer in the kitchen or in the office. Just clean up a little portion of your desk. Do a little something that you say, hey, today's a good day. I got that done. I got that little thing done that's always hanging around in the back of your mind, right? Another one is engage your greatest moment. I love that. Think of the greatest moment in your life. For example, a lot of times it's weddings or birth of a child. I remember when my son Bo was born, he came out with a little smile on his face. And relive that moment with as much sensory perception as possible, sights, sounds, smells. And when you do that, you will feel a physical change in your body. Physically, you will feel better. Physically, it'll flood your brain with good thoughts for the day, right? Engage your current life purpose. What are you excited about in life? Be around positive, uplifting people. Come to the Galaxy of Stars. Come and be around Team WYTAYBA people, positive, uplifting, right? And then one of the greatest things you can do, because this controls your thoughts for the day. Plan your work, then work your plan. Terry Newsom says that, right? Make a little list. Here are some things I want to do today. Here's what I want to focus on today. Here are my thoughts for the day that I'm going to bring out into a reality, right? That I'm going to bring out and bring to a reality. And then finally, a few other things here. Reread, if you have, read or reread Michael's Chapter 3, The Law of Expression. Read or reread Think and Grow Rich. Read the bonus. We're going to give you the strangest secret here in a second. Read that. And then choose wisely. Okay, let me close with that. Choose wisely. Be aware of your thoughts, your inputs, your self-talk. Okay, be aware of those things and choose them wisely, right? Choose wisely. Ask yourself what I call empowering, action-forward questions. Here's an example. Why do I find it so easy to control my thoughts? Now, you may not be controlling your thoughts right now, but that's okay. Ask the question, why do I find it so easy to control my thoughts? Because your brain will start answering that question. And if you want to answer it first thing, ask it first thing in the morning and last thing before you go to bed, your subconscious mind will start working on it. Why do I find it so easy to control my thoughts? Because, see, your brain starts. Because, you might be filling the blank in already right now. Because I start the morning in gratitude. Because I start the morning planning my day. Because I check in with my thoughts a few times a day. Because I'm reading this little card of my favorite thoughts and my life's passion, my life's purpose with me, right? I read it a couple times a day. Because I'm part of Team WYTAYBA. Because I take control of my inputs. I take control of my inputs. What am I hearing? The food, the fuel, or the fuels, I like to think about it for the body. The touch. Because I meditate, because I do Qigong, because I slow down to go fast in life, right? Ask yourself those empowering, action-forward questions that your brain starts to answer. It'll pull you in the right direction. And lastly, focus on what you want. Again, don't say, I want to stop eating junk food. Don't. That doesn't work. Better question, I want to eat healthy food, right? Focus on what you want. Avoid thinking about or even mentioning what you don't want. But even better than I want to eat healthy food is, why do I always eat healthy food? See, now you get yourself into the meaning behind it. Why do I always eat healthy food? Why do I find it easy to get a healthy snack? Well, because I bought them and I threw out all the other unhealthy snacks and I only buy healthy ones. But why do I always eat healthy food? Because I'm a healthy person. Because that's when I feel my best. Because I enjoy going to Whole Foods, right? Because I'm a role model for others. Because I fuel my body, not just feed my body. Again, it's those empowering questions. Why do I find it so easy to build my TriVita business? Because I'm always serving others. Because I put that into my day every day, right? Because I like the products. I like the business model. I've got a list of, if you want to email me, I have a list of 60 things I like about TriVita and why I find it so easy to build with TriVita. So you're in control. You're in control, okay? Who will you become? Who will you become? Napoleon Hill said it. He said, you might well remember that nothing can bring you success but yourself, right? So apply this to your life. Start with the awareness of your thoughts, then move to take control of those thoughts. Move to take some action. And so every time you get an email from Team WYTAYBA now you know the rest of the story, right? And so listen, Earl Nightingale, very famous, The Strangest Secret. And so we've got that for you. You can read it. And in addition to Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret, we also have his 30-day action plan for turning ideas, and goals into their reality, right? 30-day action plan to achieve a goal using your thoughts. So to get that, you go to teamwytayba.com. What you think about, you bring about, so now you know how to spell it too. teamwytayba.com/earl-secret.pdf. So Earl, E-A-R-L, dash, the little dash, and then secret.pdf. And you can download that and have that. And, you know, don't take my word for any of this. Please don't. Do your own research. Look for your own answers, right? The secret, which isn't a secret, he calls it the strangest secret, but it isn't a secret. It's out there wherever you look, okay, if you will only look for it, right? So it may be some other explanation of it. It may be that Earl's explanation really resonates with you. I don't care which one, but some explanation of it's going to bring even deeper clarity to you. But by all means, go looking for it. Seek the knowledge, okay, in the sure expectation of receiving it. Okay, so seek the knowledge for the sure expectation of receiving it. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened. So be a student of this. Keep learning. Keep growing. And it all comes down to just 7 simple words, which is WYTAYBA. What you think about, you bring about. What you think matters. What you think matters so much. Choose your thoughts wisely. And finally, in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, a man is but the product of his thoughts. What he thinks, he becomes. What will you become? It's up to you, and it's up to your thoughts.